on, guys? It's your boy, the Big Rob Theory, and today I'm going to be reviewing for you Spider-Man Far From Home. Alright, so as a nerd in general, I was definitely looking forward to this movie because personally I think that this rendition of Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, is the best rendition of Spider-Man to date. It's so comic book accurate. In the comic books, Spider-Man is a teenager in high school. With Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, it was, a little bit okay. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was blah. But Tom Holland's Spider-Man is literally the perfect rendition, as I said, of Spider-Man. That's obviously my personal opinion. I know others who have different point of views, but that's okay. I loved this movie. I don't really have many complaints. A slight few, but we'll get to that later on. To start off, we have Tom Holland, as I said, as Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man. Did a great job, phenomenal job. We have our boy, Happy Hogan. He's played by Jon Favreau. A fun fact, he directed the first two Iron Man movies. I recently found that out. I did not know that. Well, hats off to you, Jon Favreau. Hats off to you. We have Marissa Tomei, who plays Aunt May. Get it? Yeah, Marissa Tomei does a great job as Aunt May, in my personal opinion, in Homecoming and in Far From Home. It's a great actress to have in these movies. She adds a nice little element, so I gotta give props to her for that. And of course, you have as Nick Fury, Mr. Samuel L. Jackson.
This mother.
And also, I've got to give a great job and hats off to Mr. Jake Gyllenhaal, who played Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio. I was pleasantly surprised to see his presentation of one of Spider-Man's top villains, and personally, one of my favorite villains, aside from, come on. He did a great job as Quentin Beck and Mysterio. I love how they incorporated Mysterio's tactics with Spider-Man and Peter Parker, and just in his villainous way, how he went about things during the movie. And it was just, it was really good. Like, I was, again, pleasantly surprised. I would love to see him return. Also, there's Jacob Batalon, who plays Ned Leeds, his best friend. He's, a funny guy. I have no problems with Ned, the character in this movie. I actually think he's one of my favorite characters, just because he is just, I don't know, he's just a funny guy. Last, but definitely not least, my girl Zendaya plays MJ, Mary Jane, and she does a phenomenal job of doing this little dark humor thing, if you will. So those are the some of the main characters in the movie. There's obviously some subliminal characters that are very awesome that you'll see. But now let's get into some of the plot. So this is post-Endgame. Peter Parker is establishing himself in his own right as his own superhero. And, he's going on a trip with his classmates over to Europe. And obviously, as you see in the trailers, some things go awry. He doesn't really want to be the superhero this time around. He just kind of wants to be Peter Parker, enjoying the time he has with his friends. But of course, when you go see the movie, that's not the case. That's all I'm going to give you, because I don't want to spoil anything, because this movie is awesome. And if I was spoiled with anything going in, I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed, I tell you. Pissed. All right, so there's a lot of CGI that goes into this movie, and I loved every minute of it. Every single minute, every single second. It was just great. Phenomenal. Fantastic. But any adjective that you can think of, apply it to this movie, positive-wise. Apply it to this movie and the CGI, and it's awesome. I gotta give major props to the editing team, because, we think that all these movies that have such a high budget and all these actors who are, getting paid millions, and the directors and producers and writers and everything, you think that, oh, they're getting paid all this money so they can do this easily. No, man, it takes a lot of hard work and effort into getting these things right and down to a T. Nowadays, especially in 2019, you have fans who, go online and rant about the dumbest things in regards to these movies. And it causes a lot of these actors and actresses, and even some directors and producers and writers, I'm sure, and editors, to kind of question themselves, or even get into like a mild depression or something. Just because people aren't satisfied with something because they didn't get it the way they wanted to do it. Well, newsflash, you aren't in Hollywood. You aren't on the editing team. You aren't making millions. So why in the hell are you bitching online about a movie that you probably actually love, but you're just doing it because it's just popular to hate things nowadays? Sorry, rant over. Back to the positive stuff. The acting with all the cast members was actually perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna say it was perfect. I don't like to say that in regards to movies because there's always things you can improve on. But I think that the interactions with Peter Parker and Aunt May and Peter Parker and Happy and Nick Fury and Nick Fury and Peter Parker, especially those two, you see just phenomenal acting with emotion and just like pure gumption to do whatever it is that the objective is in the movie, or to not do what is being asked of you in the movie. So every actor and actress in this movie played a great role and did a great job.
Get on the jet! Who are you? I work with Spider-Man. You work for Spider-Man? I work with Spider-Man, not for Spider-Man. New plan!
So the scenes are set mainly in Europe, specifically in London and France. There's other places, but mainly those two. It's beautiful, you know. I love when movies take you to a new place, a different place, especially movies like this, when you're mainly based in New York, say, because of Spider-Man growing up in Queens. So it's great to see like different locations, especially, you know, beautiful locations, or, you know, whatever. It's just, it's nice to see a lot of traveling aspects. You know, you go to a different scenery, there's a different tone in that different scenery, you know. So it's nice that this movie did it so well. Some movies, they transition to something and you're like, oh, that's a green screen, or wow, somebody messed up there, or that's not really where they say it is. You know, you never know. People nowadays, they can't be happy with anything. So I'm happy, actually really happy with this movie.
No, of course I'm not. I mean, it's kind of obvious.
So as a big fan, I'm going to give this movie an 8.5. As an objective moviegoer and watcher, taking or trying to take my fanboyness out of this, I'd still give the movie an 8.5. Why? Because it is done really well. Again, the acting is just phenomenal. The action is beyond amazing. Like, the fight scenes and the way how Spider-Man has to fight sometimes, it's just nuts. Absolutely nuts. The minor things that I did not like, there were just maybe like one too many puns in the movie. And that's not even really a bad thing. It was funny throughout, actually really funny. I laughed pretty much at almost every joke just because it was actually funny. But there were like maybe 2 or 3 times where I was kind of like, that was a little bit forced. But if that's the only thing that's wrong with the movie, then I'll take it. Hello, who doesn't like to laugh? Yeah, that was my only real issue with the movie, was just there were 2 or 3 too many times where they were trying to be funny instead of just letting it happen. You could notice it. So, again, it's not that big of a deal. So thank you so much for joining me for this review of Spider-Man Far From Home. I love this movie. I hope that if you've seen this movie, you loved it too. And if you didn't, tell me why. You know, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts, whether you liked it or whether you didn't like it. And if you haven't seen this movie, let me know after you see this movie what you thought about it. Be sure to like and comment on the video, and definitely subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more coming. In the next few weeks, I'm going to be initiating the Arrowverse section of my channel. And that's, you know, again, I've said it in previous videos, and it's like the bread and butter of what this channel really is like DC-based content. But again, I do everything, obviously. I love Marvel, I love Star Wars, I love Transformers, I love anything sci-fi, action, adventure, comedy. I love it all. Thanks, guys, and away we go.